When people hear about African history, the story often starts with slavery. But Africa's history didn't begin there. For thousands of years before the transatlantic slave trade, Africa was home to organized societies, powerful kingdoms, vast trade networks, and centers of learning. To truly understand the impact of slavery, we must first understand what Africa was before it. Before the Atlantic slave trade, Africa was a continent of diverse political structures, from sprawling empires to decentralized societies. West Africa saw the rise of empires like Ghana and Mali, renowned for their wealth and sophisticated governance. In East Africa, a string of vibrant city-states flourished along the Swahili coast, connecting the continent to the Indian Ocean trade world. And in Southern Africa, the impressive stone structures of Great Zimbabwe stood as a testament to a powerful center of trade and authority. These societies weren't primitive. They had complex systems of law, leadership, taxation, and diplomacy. They engaged with each other and the world on their own terms. Long before European ships arrived on its western shores, Africa was a major player in global trade. Gold, salt, ivory, iron, exquisite textiles, and agricultural goods moved across the vast Sahara Desert and the bustling Indian Ocean. Cities like Timbuktu became legendary, not just as commercial hubs, but as celebrated centers of scholarship and intellectual life. Wealth wasn't just about gold. It was measured in land, livestock, valuable trade goods, and social influence. This economic dynamism created prosperous societies and connected diverse cultures across thousands of miles. Daily life for most people was built around the rhythms of farming, fishing, and skilled craftsmanship. Art, music, and rich oral traditions were woven into the fabric of society, passing down history, values, and beliefs from one generation to the next. Technology was also advanced. Metallurgy, especially ironworking, was highly developed in many regions, producing tools, weapons, and art that were essential to life and commerce. Education wasn't confined to formal schools. It was a community effort, passed down through scholars, families, and religious institutions, ensuring that knowledge and culture thrived. It's important to acknowledge that forms of servitude existed in parts of Africa, just as they did in many societies around the world at the time. These systems were often tied to conflicts, where captives of war might serve the victorious group, or were a result of debt or complex social hierarchies. However, in many of these traditional systems, it was possible for individuals to eventually integrate into families or communities, and their status was not necessarily permanent or passed down to their children. This was fundamentally different from the transatlantic chattel slavery system that would later emerge. That system was on an industrial scale, was based explicitly on race, and turned human beings into property for life, a condition inherited by their descendants. Understanding the differences in scale, purpose, and structure is crucial for a clear view of history. By the 15th century, on the eve of this drastic change, Africa was a continent of economically active and politically organized societies. The arrival of European traders introduced a new, insatiable demand: mass human labor for plantations in the Americas. This demand would ignite the transatlantic slave trade, a force that would profoundly and violently reshape African societies in ways never seen before. But before that system grew to its terrible peak, Africa already possessed its own long, complex, and rich history. Africa's story does not begin with chains. It begins with cities, scholarship, trade, governance, and culture. To understand the full tragedy of slavery, we must first appreciate the world that it dismantled. History is always more complete and more human when we see the full picture. If you value balanced and factual history, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.